The trustee.
Sir, you need to stop. You're being in contempt of court. You need to stop, or I'll have the officer assist you in stopping. All right, Missy.
False imprisonment.
I want you to stop talking, or you can go upstairs to the county jail. Now, do you want to go to jail tonight? The second.
No, I also have a right to understand the nature of this. I have a right to understand the nature of.
If you don't want to listen to me, you can go to jail.
I'm not being disruptive. I'm just trying to understand the nature and cause of the charge.
All right, officers. I'm gonna close.
What am I doing? I'm sitting here trying to understand the charge.
If he gives any more grief.
Your Honor, can I please go home? Your Honor, can I please go home? I'll leave.
All right, guys. Today we got one of the most ridiculous sovereign citizens we've ever featured on this channel. This guy ends up in court for not having valid insurance and for speeding. But for some reason, he treats the whole thing like it's some kind of joke. He's potentially facing jail time. Yet he's in there arguing with the judge like they're buddies fighting over the last slice of pizza. Like, bro, this isn't a frat party. It's a courtroom. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is this guy just clueless? Or do you think there might be something deeper going on, like a mental health issue? Also, what do you think of the judge's response? Did they handle it like a pro? Get ready for some top-tier word salad, because this guy really thinks he's making sense. All right, let's dive in.
Appearing in person and pro se. Your name tag on your uniform says Johnson, so I presume you are Mr. Johnson. Now, sir, if you can get right in front of that microphone. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
I can. Sir,
yes.
You're charged in count 1 with speeding 82 miles per hour in a 65 mile per hour zone. That is a traffic infraction. It is not a charge that carries any jail time. It has a scheduled fine. 82 and a 65 is $87. But then there's also 108 court costs. In count 2, you're accused of operating your motor vehicle without proof of insurance. Now, if you had insurance but just couldn't find it, you can get the proof to the county attorney and she'll probably dismiss that charge. If, in fact, it had lapsed or something was happening so that you didn't have insurance on the vehicle at the time being January 4th, 2024, that is a B misdemeanor. The maximum penalties as far as jail time would be 6 months, although probation is usually granted. There is a mandatory minimum fine the court must impose of $300, but it could be as high as $1,000. You do have the right to hire any attorney of your choice. If you cannot afford an attorney, you can apply and see if you qualify for court appointed. You can waive your right to counsel and represent yourself. Another option, you might be able to apply for diversion. That is where you apply, and if the county attorney approves you for diversion, you would pay agreed upon fines, costs, get your insurance current, and pay a diversion fee, and she'd dismiss the charges and keep them off your record. If you want to talk about diversion or anything else with your attorney, you certainly will have the opportunity to do that. Your pleas, you have a choice of pleas. You can plead not guilty, and we can set this for trial at a later date. You can plead guilty, admitting the charge, and we would proceed with sentencing. Or you could plead no contest, which is neither admitting nor denying the charges, but you'd still most likely be found guilty, and we'd proceed to sentencing. If you want to look into diversion, we'll enter a not guilty plea to give you time to do that. You can always change your plea, but once you're convicted, pre-trial diversion is off the table. So
probably not eligible for diversion based on his driving record.
Oh, okay. Well, do you want to talk to an attorney then and discuss whether or not you have a defense? Or?
No, Your Honor, I would like to request a declaratory judgment due to there is no agreement for my performance under any agreement or commission of this court.
Well, I don't need an agreement from you, sir. So if I were,
Well, Your Honor, I simply do not understand the nature and cause of the accusation with regard to the jurisdiction of the venue and nature of this action until the prosecutor properly alleges them there. I cannot enter a plea to the charge on.
You can already feel the tension rising with Joe Webster. You can practically see the patience draining from her face in real time. This sovereign citizen seriously believes that tossing around a word salad filled with nonsense about freedom and jurisdiction is going to magically get him out of trouble. Spoiler, it won't. The law is pretty straightforward. If you're driving without insurance or a valid license, you're breaking the rules. No amount of made-up legal mumbo-jumbo is going to change that. Honestly, I think some of these people are mentally unhinged. Like, how do you even get to a point where you truly believe you're above the law? Something's definitely not right internally. And I have to ask, where are they even getting this stuff? Is there some YouTube rabbit hole I haven't discovered yet? Because there are way too many of these people out here. I kind of want to investigate just to see how deep this delusion goes. But just wait. This guy's about to take things to the next level and actually get aggressive with the judge. Let's go ahead and dive back in.
today, I will enter a not guilty plea for you and give you
I
time.
object, Your Honor. I object to you entering a plea to me because I must understand the nature and cause of these accusations. So I do not agree to you entering a plea on my behalf.
Well, your position is taken and I'm still going to do it. I will note your objection for the record, but I'm going to enter a not guilty plea.
Well, I object to you
Your
entering a plea
objection
on my
is
behalf.
noted. Your objection is noted, and if the time comes, you can appeal that to the Court of Appeals. Now, on the issue
Well,
of
who is,
attorney,
Your Honor, I would like to ask, who bring these charges against me? I should have the right to
all
question.
right, we're not going to have this debate right now. I've told you your charges. I've told you the state of Kansas has filed those through its attorney, Jill Gillette. Now,
Well, I would like to call the state to the, I would like to call the state to the stand, Your Honor.
We're not doing that,
state bringing charges against me. Who's it? How did I injure the state?
all right, this is your first appearance. I advise you of your rights. I advise you of your charges and possible.
Your Honor, I object to the proceeding, for I do not know the nature and cause of the
I'm
proceeding.
entering a not guilty plea. Missy, when is?
I object to you entering I object to you entering a plea on my behalf. I do not grant you that right.
Missy?
The court date,
You're supposed to act as a trustee.
Sir, you
No.
need to stop. You're being in contempt of court. You need to stop or I'll have the officer assist you in stopping. Missy?
Well, Your Honor, I would like to also bring to
September
according to USC 12203.
Deputy Miles.
And also
did you,
Article 3, the judge must operate in good faith and good behavior. So therefore, if you're making a threat towards me, then
Deputy,
that's
if he's going to
urging
keep
me to
being
perform in your
contentious, I'm going to
court.
have you take him into custody on contempt.
Then that would be illegal search and seizures, Your Honor.
Wouldn't you need to go back?
It will.
All right,
It's
Missy.
false
I
imprisonment.
want you to stop talking or you can go upstairs to the county jail. Now, do you want to go to jail tonight?
Your Honor, again, Title
Deputy
4,
Miles, could you
let's
come in and
see.
assist the defendant?
September 27th at 9 o'clock will be the court date.
September 27th, you said 9 o'clock?
Yes.
9 a.m. You must be back here, sir, in person at the courthouse, or you will be arrested for failure to
Your
come to
proceeding,
court.
Your Honor.
Now, that deputy there is going to take you into custody if you cannot control yourself through the remainder of this hearing.
I'm not doing anything. I'm just enforcing my right, Your Honor.
All right, so your first right is to have a hearing date, and that is September 27th, 9 a.m.
This dude seriously cannot take a hint. If I were the judge, I probably would have hit him with 30 days for contempt without even blinking. Major props to Judge Webster for holding it together. Because let's be honest, most of us would have either muted this clown or had him cuffed by now. Now, here's the thing. When this sovereign citizen demands to know the nature of the charges against him, he's technically not wrong. That's a fundamental part of due process under the Sixth Amendment. But the judge already explained the charges multiple times. The guy just flat out refuses to listen. Instead, he acts like he's uncovering some kind of shady, backroom kangaroo court conspiracy. It's bizarre. At this point, it's not about knowing the law. It's about being so stubborn that even a clear, rational explanation feels like an attack. Seriously, how much patience does Judge Webster have? Because we're about to find out.
I have a right to understand the
All
nature
right.
of
If
cause.
you don't want to listen to me, you can go to jail. Do you want to know, do you want to hire an attorney or apply for court appointed?
No, I do not. I don't need to hire an attorney, Your Honor.
You want to represent yourself?
I don't need to hire an attorney. I would like for you as the judge, Your Honor, to explain to me the nature and cause of the.
All right, I'm not going to appoint an attorney if you don't want me to. If you want, you said you don't want to hire an attorney. If you want to apply for court appointed, the officers have forms there that you can fill out. If
I
you
just
don't
want to
fill them
understand the
out,
nature
I'm
and
going-
cause.
If you don't want to fill one out, I'm going to assume you don't want an attorney. And then if you come to court September 27th at 9 a.m., you're going to be representing yourself if you don't hire or apply for court appointed. And so you've got the third issue. Does he have a bond? Looks like you do because you failed to appear February 27th at your first appearance. So bench warrant was issued, bond was set at $1,000 cash or professional surety. Looks like that was posted. Looks like you made a cash bond of $1,000. Does that sound right? You put up $1,000 cash back in July 12th?
I'm still trying to understand the nature and cause of this allegation, Your Honor.
I will continue your bond unless you get yourself hauled into jail on contempt before you leave. I will continue your bond with the condition that you reappear here in person at September 27th at 9 a.m. So you've got your court date, you've got your bond, and we've talked about your lawyer. Now, you're wearing a U.S. Army uniform with the name Johnson on it. Are you in or have you been in the United States military?
Your Honor, I'm still trying to understand the nature and cause of the allegation, Your Honor.
All right. If you can leave the courthouse now without any further disruption, I will let you do so. But I'm going to have those officers escort you to make sure you do so. So, Ms. Gillette, anything further?
Your Honor, it is your oath to explain the nature and cause of the allegation against me. Are you failing to do that?
All right. You can either walk out the front door.
Let me know in the comments. Do you think this guy's going to end up spending the night in jail, or will he finally shut his mouth and leave the building like the judge asked him to? Because honestly, at this point, it could go either way. He has a choice here. I don't get why he's not taking it. The judge has given him so many chances, practically begging him to just cooperate and walk out. But nope, he's glued to his little sovereign citizen script like it's some kind of magic spell that's going to save him. Spoiler, it won't. And here's a wild twist. This guy was literally in the army. Like, actual government property. How does that even work? I have no idea how he made it through the military acting like this. We all know that kind of nonsense doesn't fly in uniform. At this point, I'm honestly starting to wonder there's something seriously wrong with him. Like, is this a mental health issue? Or is he on something? Because I just cannot make sense of how someone like this functions day to day. Anyway, let's dive back in.
Disruptively.
I'm not being disruptive. I'm just trying to understand the nature and cause of the charge.
All right, officers, I'm gonna close.
What am I doing? I'm sitting here trying to understand the charge.
If he gives any more grief.
All I'm asking is to understand the charges. This is for the record. You said it's for the record, so I'm trying to understand what am I being charged?
The charges. Goodbye, sir.
I just want to understand the nature and cause of the charges, Your Honor. That's all I ask. It is your
I've
oath
gone
to
over
give
those
that.
with you. If you tell me what kind of questions you have, I'll be happy to answer them, but I've already told you.
Okay. Under what jurisdiction is these charges being brought to me under?
The state of Kansas has charged you with speeding 82 and a 65 and operating a motor vehicle without liability insurance on January 4th, 2024 in Greenwood County, Kansas. You failed to appear for your first appearance and a bench warrant was issued and you were arrested and you made a bond of 1,000 cash or surety, posting a cash bond. Now you have to go to court and you have to answer those charges. You can
Your Honor, I
have
know.
a trial if you like, and the burden will be on the state of Kansas to either prove or disprove. If they can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, you're let go.
Well, I'm still trying to understand under what jurisdiction am I being charged under, Your Honor? That's all I'm trying to understand.
You're being charged under the jurisdiction of the state of Kansas under its criminal.
But according to the Constitution, there are only two
All right,
jurisdictions.
we'll have that on a later date. We'll be at recess, officers. Please escort him one way or the other, depending on his behavior.
But I'm still not understanding what you're charging me with.
Goodbye. We are adjourned.
But if she's the judge, I'm supposed to have clear and concise of what I'm being charged with.
The judge just said if you give us any problems with it.
I'm not giving y'all a problem. I'm trying to.
So you have to put you in handcuffs and
Well, I'm waiting on the Your Honor to explain.
All right, Missy.
But
That's our last case on the docket, isn't it?
This is not good.
Yes.
All right. All right. Ms. Gillette, I'll see you at 3:30 docket.
Your Honor, can I please go home? Your Honor, can I please go home? I'll leave.
All right. Well,
Can I go home?
I left it up.
I've seen a lot of bizarre court cases, but this one might take the cake. It's like this guy was actively trying to get himself thrown in jail. Maybe he's homeless and just wanted a roof over his head. Who knows? What I do know is the judge laid everything out for him in plain English. The charges, the jurisdiction, all of it. But his brain either couldn't or wouldn't process it. What we're seeing here is a perfect storm of arrogance and delusion. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if this was a case of stolen valor, because there's just no way someone acting like this actually made it through the army. It doesn't add up. But beyond just this guy, let's talk about the bigger problem. Sovereign citizens in general are a huge drain on court resources. Judges, clerks, and everyone else in the system are forced to waste time dealing with their tantrums, while real cases that actually matter, get pushed back. Taxpayers are footing the bill for these courtroom circus acts. Also, someone can argue imaginary legal theories that don't hold water anywhere. It's frustrating and honestly kind of sad. I feel for anyone who has to deal with these folks professionally. It's like try to reason with someone who lives in their own fantasy world. Anyway, what did you guys think about this case? Personally, I think the guy was a complete idiot, but I also think Judge Webster handled it really well. She gave him multiple chances, kept her cool for as long as possible, and then finally snapped when it was clear he wasn't getting it. A waste of time? Yeah, but at least she maintained her professionalism. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, everybody.